The 1960 Major League Baseball Series finale. Students are watching a Pittsburgh Pirates game from the Temple of Science at the University of Pittsburgh. There are two women in Amsterdam in 1967. (1959), a musical cat in Worcester, England. A Khanty mother and her child are eating raw reindeer meat in the Yamal Peninsula, in the Yamalo-Nenets Autonomous Okrug, northern Siberia, Russia, in 1991. This is apparatus for measuring extension and flexion of the wrist. It was part of physical rehabilitation. This was around 1914 to 1918. A Norwegian bride in her traditional clothes, 1897. Cotton candy at the Pittsburgh Fair, 1945. There's a cool ride that was built in 1961. It's a custom car and it's bright red. It has a 4-speed transmission, a fuel-injected engine, and a Corvette chassis. On September 15, 1963, the 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama was bombed by the KKK. August 24, 1945. World War II. The last Cadillac-built M24 tank is produced, ending the company's war effort. A rotating cobalt machine is swinging around the body of a patient, attacking cancerous tumors, 1955. Sixth Army soldiers are marching to Stalingrad, 1942. Hot dogs for sale during a football match in Gothenburg, Sweden, 1939. The last photo of Lady Diana and Prince William was taken in August of 1997. Alexander Bloch. Construction on the Lincoln Memorial, 1921. Marvin Gaye and Pam Grier at a celebrity game, Los Angeles, 1973. There was a gasoline shortage in the Netherlands in 1941. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Heather Thomas. It's the 1980s. The first photograph of the Taj Mahal was taken in 1855. John F. Kennedy visits the Tower of Pisa in 1937. Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson, Hugh Laurie, Kate Winslet, and Harriet Walter, 1994. Dairy Queen employees in West Columbia, Texas, 1976. There's a man, and he's among alligators and caimans. This is at a zoo in Florence, sometime in the 1900s. Audrey Hepburn's in a field with a windmill, Sussex, England, 1951. Passengers on a Tokyo-Osaka train are doing a 3-minute calisthenics lesson, all set to music. The service was designed so that passengers could stretch their legs during a 5-minute stop. This was in 1952. All right, we're in a wine cellar in France in 1890. Mila Jovovich on the set of Dazed and Confused, 1993. Bill Murray and Dan Aykroyd taking a break from filming Ghostbusters in 1984. A skinny child eats a crust of bread at a TAZ, which is the Society for the Protection of the Health of the Jewish Population, summer camp in Otwock, near Warsaw, around 1935 to 1937. A German Zeppelin, LZ-5, enters a hangar, Germany, 1909. A woman, moving to another village, takes with her the bones of her dead son. Czechoslovak soldiers are leading an arrested collaborator to be court-judged in Telch in May of 1945. Claudia Schiffer, Marrakesh, 1989. Dolly Parton in high school, 1963. It's a carnival at Bayer's 8 Cafe. There are waiters in masks. This was in Munich, Germany in 1933. Geisha School, Japan, 1951. This is a bicycle of the future from 1946. Benjamin Bowden created the Space Lander, a bike with an engine and a design straight out of a sci-fi movie. James Dean greeting fans during the Sweethearts Ball at his old high school in Fairmount, Indiana, 1955. Chimney Sweep, Frankfurt, Germany, 1947. A Children Dance, New York, 1977. A Shaolin monk is running on a wall in China in 1989. Alright, so let's talk about the making of Star Wars in 1983. Grover Cleveland was born in 1837. He was the 22nd and 24th President of the United States. He served 2 non-consecutive terms in the White House. He was the only president to do this. A volunteer of the Free French Women's Corps, around 600 women volunteered between 1940 and 1943. King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, who would later be the Queen Mother, are relaxing in their garden with their teenage daughters, Princess Elizabeth and Princess Margaret. This was taken in the gardens of the Royal Lodge at Windsor, around 1946. Ava Lavinia Gardner in her 50s. A girl is on a swing in Mauer Park, Berlin in 1996. An Eskimo woman with long hair in 1903. Whitney Houston is backstage with Bruce Springsteen, and he's holding his Oscar at the 66th Academy Awards, which was in 1994. David Reimers, the boy unwillingly raised as a girl. An enlightened era farmer, Japan, 1890s. Fidel Castro is smoking a cigar and wearing 2 Rolex watches during a meeting with Khrushchev in 1963. The Amanaus Hotel, which is abandoned now, is in Dombai in the Caucasus, Russia. It was built between 1982 and 1985. Winona Ryder and Alec Baldwin, on the set of Beetlejuice, 1988. A child is serving in the Soviet partisans. The photo was taken in 1942 in Novgorod. Coke cans from 1936. Ethnic Germans were being forced to repair the streets of Prague after World War II in May 1945. A road washing machine, 1905. Civilians in 1944 during the Battle of Saipan. It's a combined car, boat, and airplane. The year was 1928. Women are practicing shooting on the outskirts of Tehran, Iran in 1986. In 1939, the Antarctic snow cruiser was unveiled as a futuristic beast meant to conquer the frozen continent. Instead, it became one of history's most spectacular engineering flops. American First Lady Eleanor Roosevelt rubs noses with a Maori woman. This happened in New Zealand around 1940. Jimmy Carter was sworn in as the 39th President of the United States by U.S. Supreme Court Chief Justice Warren Burger on January 21, 1977. Joel McHale played tight end for the University of Washington, and they went to the Rose Bowl in 1992. Children went on a day trip to a Ku Klux Klan camp in 1924. Extreme skier Doug Coombs is descending a steep cliff face. This was in Wyoming, USA in 1989. It's a male beauty contest. This took place in Vienna, Austria in 1926. This is a behind-the-scenes photo from the filming of the first Godzilla movie. This was in Japan, 1954. They're transporting a boat. This is in the Netherlands in 1931. There are two people walking along a road and they're near a billboard. The billboard says, "Next time, try the train. Relax." It's 1937. A nobleman, wearing ceremonial robes. This is from Japan, sometime between 1877 and 1880. Ronald Reagan, the 40th President of the United States, is getting a gift. The present is from representatives of the National Turkey Federation. It's Thanksgiving Day, November 21st, 1983. Alright, so this is about a test flight of the AD-1, an aircraft. The plane was designed to check out the idea of oblique wings, and if they could make supersonic flight more cost-effective. This happened on July 9th, 1980. AGI has a slogan on his helmet. It says, "Where is Lee Harvey Oswald now that we really need him?" This was taken in Con Thien in 1967. Jeff Beck joins Stevie Ray Vaughan on stage in Detroit, 1989. Nicolae Ceausescu and Kim Il-sung are dancing the Czardas. This happened in Pyongyang in 1971. A mother is helping her child get off the trolley on Broadway in New York City. This happened in July of 1913. Actors Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn, and Wyatt Hawn Russell are in the LA Kings locker room with Ronald Reagan in the 1980s. A street butcher, also known as the cat's meat man, is getting ready to feed the cats and dogs. They're all lined up in front of him in London around 1900. This is a portrait of Cow Oots, a Caddo Native American from 1906. Survivors from the Andes flight disaster wait to be rescued. Of the initial 45 passengers and crew, only 16 survived. This was at the Chile-Argentina border in 1972. Fidel Castro is with his 5-member revolutionary tribunal at a court-martial of a local peasant in 1957. Vishniak's daughter Mara is posing in front of an election poster of Hindenburg and Hitler. The poster has an inscription that says, "Marshal and Corporal, fight with us for peace and equal rights," in Wilmersdorf, Berlin in 1933. The photographer was Roman Vishniak, St. John of Kronstadt. Dresden after its bombing in 1945, shot by Richard Peter. There's an old man sitting in a machine. The machine is used to stimulate blood circulation in the legs. This was the 1950s. Here's a portrait of 3-year-old Jimi Hendrix, posing with his father, Al Hendrix, back in 1945. Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria, whose assassination in 1914 marked the beginning of World War I. (1971). (1992), there was an advertisement for the creature from the Black Lagoon pinball machine by Bally Games. A little girl shows a huge fish to 3 cats, New South Wales, 1936. The Iranian people removed the statue of the Shah in the University of Tehran in 1978. One easy piece, the timeless fashion of the 1970s. A United States Air Force lieutenant is held captive by a young North Vietnamese soldier, 1967. It was a pretty big prototype, intended to become a large transatlantic airliner with 100 passengers. Built in 1921, it crashed at its second test on Lake Maggiore, Italy. July 1951, Los Angeles, California. Nipper, a 2-year-old cat owned by Dorothy Bryn of Hollywood, likes to eat his corn in comfort, so his mistress fixed up this skewer. There are 3 girls strolling past 2 British soldiers. They are keeping watch for snipers after a spate of rioting in Belfast, Northern Ireland. This was in 1981. This is a rare Tupac mugshot without the mustache. It was taken in February of 1995. Dorothy Kirsten, a glamour girl from the Metropolitan Opera, recorded Puccini arias. Before she did, she took off all her rings and bracelets because they might jingle and ruin the recording. An emaciated child is eating on the pavement. This is in the Warsaw Ghetto during World War II. Soviet cinema in Ukraine in 1919, and there's the audience at the cinema car of the Lenin propaganda train. During World War I, the army created propaganda. It shows the army and its soldiers were brave. Some propaganda shows the Germans were bad. One poster reads, "Remember Belgium." Another says, "Beat back the Hun." The army used propaganda to help recruit people and get money. Pamela Anderson in 1993. Raleigh Free is getting ready to break the motorcycle speed record on the Bonneville Salt Flats in Utah in 1948. Martin Luther King Jr. is welcomed with a kiss from his wife, Coretta Scott King, after leaving court in Montgomery, Alabama, on March 22, 1956. First was Miss Witch, followed by Miss Vampire, then Miss Pumpkin. There was also Miss Skeleton, and finally, Miss Ghost. American airmen are showing natives a Corsair. This happened in Ulithi, Yap, in 1945. Chinese civilians are watching an aerial battle between Japanese bombers and Chinese fighter planes in Hankou. The Japanese had set out to bomb the city on Japanese Emperor Hirohito's 37th birthday. Anti-armor hand grenade, a shaped charge packed in a hollowed-out Nerf football, 1973. July 28, 1925, Washington, D.C., undelivered mail of World War soldiers, including a crucifix in a bottle. Sandra Brown, the first black woman on the Oakland police force, gets instructions on how to shoot a shotgun, 1970. Vladimir Lenin in Siberia, 1895. Courtney Love, Milos Forman, and Edward Norton were together during the filming of The People vs. Larry Flynt in 1996. After being forced out of business by taxis, this was a cab driver's last day after 40 years with his horse and carriage in 1922. Sandra Bullock and Matthew McConaughey in 1996. The opening of the Japanese Honda showroom in St. Petersburg took place in 1992. Everybody who was a 90s kid had a Tamagotchi, and they were all traumatized when it died.